This is MTG Burgeoning, and in this video we are going to update and upgrade our Kathril Aspect Warper EDH deck. Thank you for joining us for another installment of the Up and Up series. Today we are going to update and upgrade our Kathril Aspect Warper EDH deck. In the description of this video, you can click the link to this build's deck tech. You can also click the link to this build's deck list, which is updated to the moment. And another link down there in that description is the link to this build's video primer series. The last couple stops of the Up and Up train here for this Kathril build had to deal with some mana maximization, optimization, and strengthening the card draw of the build and the card advantage. So now it's time to start actually enhancing the theme of this build, the keyword abilities. So let's take a look right here in this little spreadsheet program we've got here. You can see all of the different creatures that are currently in the 99 of this build and exactly what their keyword abilities are, in addition to all of the totals of the abilities of all of these creatures added up at the bottom. As you can see, there is a great deal of variance with the different keyword counters represented by the current version of this build. As in, we only have one double striking creature. We have 12 with vigilance. We have 12 with flying, which is just okay. I mean, flying is good evasion. 12 with vigilance. Only 3 with hexproof. Only 1 again with double strike. So beginning with this video and carrying on into future installments of the Up and Up series, we are going to, and we're going to preface this by saying, we are not going to have an equal amount of keyword abilities throughout all of the different keywords in this build. Some are more valuable than others. I want to increase the indestructible. I want to increase the double strike. The hexproof needs to be increased. I think we can decrease the vigilance. We can decrease the lifelink. What we're looking for here is a greater variance of keyword abilities that will be in our graveyard, so when Kathril hits our side of the battlefield, we can get as many counters on it as possible. Each counter we put on it gets a +1/+1 counter too, which will hopefully allow us to swing for lethal damage as long as double strike is one of those counters. So this is the first step to trying to even out the overall keyword abilities throughout this build. So we're going to have 5 creatures go in, we're going to take out 5 creatures, and then by the time the video ends, we're going to update this list, and then we'll come back to it for the next video, and we'll continue to try the best we can to even out the keyword representation in this build. All right, here we go, MTG BC, the first creature going in. It is Nyx Weaver. We've got a 2/3 reacher. It's just 1 keyword ability. However, it is going to help the overall theme of this build. It costs 1 in Golgari colors, and at the beginning of our upkeep, we put the top 2 cards of our library into our graveyard. That's what Kathril wants. Kathril wants creature cards in our graveyard that have keyword abilities. In addition, we can pay 1 in Golgari colors to exile Nyx Weaver, and we can return target card from our graveyard to our hand. We lose the creature, but we gain a necessary card, whether that's a ramp spell, removal, or a creature. Whatever it is, Nyx Weaver can put it into our hand at the cost of just 1 in Golgari colors. So with the Reacher coming in, which at the onset of this video only had 4 spots, it's going to replace Wilson the Refined Grizzly. Wilson has Vigilance, Reach, and Trample, all on a body that costs just 1 and 1 green mana. It also has Ward 2, but that doesn't help with Kathril, and this spell cannot be countered. Again, doesn't help with Kathril. Here with Wilson, we're getting rid of most likely a redundant Vigilance, a redundant Trample, because those are the 2 that are the most represented in this build. We're getting rid of the Reach, but we're bringing the Reach back with the Nyx Weaver, and the Nyx Weaver is going to do more for us with its mill ability and its recursive ability, where Wilson is just a body. One of the little sub-themes that you're going to notice as we continue with the Kathril upgrading and smoothing out of the keyword counters is we're looking for creatures that do more than just have keyword abilities. The keyword abilities are nice, but if that's the only thing they got going on for them, most likely, chances are, they're coming out in order to make room for some more utility resources. That's not going to be an across-the-board distinction, of course, but in this instance with Wilson, it certainly is. All right, the next creature going in, we have the Sanguine Spy. Here we have a vampire rogue. It has menace and it has lifelink, but I thought we were getting rid of lifelinkers. Just be patient. This is going to be a multi-step process. We have a 2/3 for 2 and a black mana. We can pay a generic, sacrifice another creature, and look at the top card of our library. We may put that card into our graveyard. At the beginning of our end step, if there are 5 or more mana values among cards in our graveyard, we may pay 2 life. If we do, then we draw a card. Here again, we're maximizing a card advantage ability, and we are able to manipulate the top of our library and get some more valuable creatures with those keyword abilities into our graveyard to keep Kathril happy. Plus, we still maintain the overall need for the keyword abilities. There's a menace and a lifelink, and menace was one of those that was very well underrepresented in the beginning of this video. With the Sanguine Spy going in, it's going to replace the Nighthawk Scavenger. Flying, Death Touch, Lifelink. So we're getting rid of a Lifelinker and another redundant flying and getting out of the Death Touch by putting in a Menace and a Lifelinker. The Nighthawk Scavenger's power is equal to just 1 plus the number of card types among cards in our opponent's graveyards, which it could be a pretty beefy flyer. Plus with the Lifelink and the Death Touch, it's a pretty strong creature. But like we said with Wilson, we're trying to prioritize some additional utility resources with these swaps, and Sanguine Spy is going to do more for us than Nighthawk Scavenger, and it's for the exact same mana value of 3 mana. 2 and a black versus 1 and 2 black. Creature number 3 going in, it is Glissa the Traitor. We have a legendary zombie elf for 3/3 for a black and 2 green mana. She has first strike and she has death touch. And whenever a creature an opponent controls is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, we may return target artifact card from our graveyard to our hand. With all of the self-milling we're doing in this build, chances are we're going to have some of our own artifacts hit the graveyard. With Glissa in play, even if she's in play and not in our graveyard, she still has great value because during a game of Commander, there will be attrition. Opponents' creatures will die. They will go to the graveyard. We will recur artifact cards from our graveyard to our hand as long as Glissa is on our side of the battlefield. And if she's in the graveyard, then we have a first striker and a death toucher. Glissa's going in and is going to replace Kunaros, Hound of Athreos. Here we have a 3/3 for 1 in Orzhov colors with Vigilance, Menace, and Lifelink. Very strong pairing with this creature. This one was tough to take out, but what we're doing is we're removing a liability. And what that means is that creature cards in graveyards can't enter the battlefield. We have numerous spells and abilities throughout the 99 of this build that allow us to do that exact same thing. So we're handcuffing ourselves if Kunaros is on our side of the battlefield. Additionally, players can't cast spells from graveyards. So by replacing the 3 keywords of Vigilance, Menace, and Lifelink, of course, with the overall goal, eventual, somewhat of a nice-looking, better bell curve, Kunaros is out because its utility hurts us, while Glissa is in because of the ability to recur those artifacts. Next creature going in number 4, it is Shadrix's Silver Quill. We have a 2/5 Elder Dragon for 3 in Orzhov colors. It flies, and there it is. It has that double strike. At the beginning of combat on our turn, we may choose 2. Each mode must target a different player. Target player creates a 2/1 white and black Inkling creature token with flying. Target player draws a card and loses 1 life, or target player puts a +1/+1 counter on each creature they control. Utility, utility, utility all the way around. If we need a body, if we need a card, if we need some counters, Shadrix is going to give that to us, in addition to the flying and double strike keyword abilities. With Shadrix going in, it's going to replace Vampire Nighthawk. Pretty much everything we said about Nighthawk Scavenger is going to apply to Vampire Nighthawk, except its power is not as big as the Scavenger. It's got to do more for us, and for just 2 additional mana, Shadrix Silverquill is a toolbox of utility, and the Vampire Nighthawk is not. All right, last card going in for this video, and it is Junji, the Midnight Sky. We had a legendary Dragon Spirit 5/5 for 3 and 2 black mana. It flies and has menace, and when Junji dies, we choose one of the following 2 modes. Each opponent discards 2 cards and loses 2 life, or we put target non-dragon creature cards from our graveyard onto the battlefield under our control, and we lose 2 life. Here is an example of why Kunaros is coming out of this build, so that we can utilize our graveyard more frequently. We most likely will be looking for some creature recursion, but hey, maybe we need to get some resources out of our opponent's hands by making them discard cards. Either way, Junji is going to go into this build and do so much more work than the card it is replacing, which is Tayam, Luminous Enigma. Here we had a legendary Nightmare Beast that's 3/3 for 1 in Abzan colors. Each other creature we control enters the battlefield with an additional vigilance counter on it. But remember, when that creature goes to the graveyard, the vigilance counter comes off, so that's not helping us. We can pay 3 generic mana and remove... Yes, 3... It's hard to see. 3 generic mana and remove 3 counters from among creatures we control to put the top 3 cards of our library into our graveyard. Then we return a permanent card with converted mana cost 3 or less from our graveyard to the battlefield. No, no, no thank you. And as it seems, this creature doesn't even have any keyword abilities. So for just 1 more overall mana, Junji, the Midnight Sky, is going to do so much more work than Tayam. All right, there you have it, MTG BC. First 5 creatures going into Kathril to start evening out these keyword abilities. Let me know your thoughts about these changes in the comments section below. Also, be sure to check out how we improved our keyword count so far. This is MTG Burgeoning, a yo channel for all things Magic.